There you go, there you go. So, welcome today. We're going to go through some all of the British pound pairs. The only thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to invite everybody to the stream. So, if you just give me a second, all right. So, if you just give me a second, I'm going to invite everybody to the stream. All right. So this is the premium community. I'm going to invite all of our members to the channel. No, I'm sorry. I have to go to the premium community. I'm live now. That's right. Let's send it. And I think I'm live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, guys. So this is going to be a great stream. Let's have a look. Yes, I am live in Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So today, the UK Parliament, let me show you the news terminal, guys, because today was a big day for the UK and a big loss for the, for the UK government, right? Because today there was a vote that passed, and the vote that passed is to put in motion the um, Letwin Act. And the Letwin Act is a response to Prime Minister Boris Johnson trying to bully a vote for his deal on Brexit, right? Because Prime Minister Boris Johnson has always been uh, arguing and almost threatening everybody to that on October 31st, which is the deadline for Brexit, he was going to either, he was going to take the UK out of the EU without a deal, or even if a deal was voted. So the Letwin Amendment was a response to that threat, in which the Ban Act was triggered, and the Ban Act, what it does is actually it obligates the Prime Minister to send a letter to the EU to ask for a delay on Brexit, and secures the UK exit from the EU with a deal. So basically, that's what is happening right now, and what we're going to do, we're going to go through all of the where we're going to go through all of the pairs on all of the GBP pairs right now, and we're going to start by looking actually at we're going to start looking at the pound versus the US dollar, then the pound versus the Japanese yen. Then we're going to go and look at the euro versus the British pound, which I think offers the best risk to reward scenario for a short on the British pound. And then we're going to look at some other some other currency pairs, like the pound versus the Canadian dollar, the pound versus the Swiss franc, and the pound versus the Australian dollar. So everything we're going to, this is going to be a full on British pound stream, and I know it's a Saturday, so it's fine if you are not, if you're not able to see it. I'm going to obviously upload the recording to every single one of our streaming services. All right. So let's start by looking at the pound versus the US dollar, shall we? And it's going to be a great stream. Just let me open the chat, and remember, guys, that if you have any questions, no matter where you're watching this stream, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a chat open for everybody. So if you have questions, just Well, type it on the chat and I will answer that for you um, in no time. So let's have a look at the pound versus the US dollar, shall we? Now, the pound versus the US dollar is at a very interesting level. So, this is the 4-hour chart on the pound versus the USD. And if you remember correctly, this was a great setup that we were discussing on the premium community with a great risk versus reward, guys. That was a great risk versus reward. Now, yeah, and if you didn't take that one, I personally didn't because I missed it, but I took this one right here. All right, and I wrote it up until that 161.8% retracement of the last leg down. All right. Now these are usually my targets when it comes to extensions. All right. Now the first target is always the previous high. In a long position, of course, and the second target is the 161.8 of the move. All right, so basically that is what we were expecting and where we took profits. Now let me go to the daily chart because I want to show you why this is a key level that we are at, right? Right now. Now, if you look closely, this is the daily chart, and I was targeting the 130. I was targeting the 130 level on our on the GBP USD, and I closed my positions on Thursday or Friday when the news came out that Boris Johnson had uh, uh, negotiated a deal with the EU. So basically what I did here is I looked at previous or a historic price action, and I saw that here is where buyers were positioned and protecting this level, all right? And after we broke with this level, the pound just collapsed more than 1,000 pips to the 120, all right? It collapsed to the 120, and that collapse on the pound is exactly why this level, for me, is a key level. Now, I'm going to stay on the daily chart because what I want to do is show you key levels, all right? So the first level on the British pound is the 130 and the 161.8, which is the level that I will be looking for for a short opportunity at the open, right? I already told you that the currency pair that is more attractive to me, and we're only looking at pound pairs, is the euro versus the British pound. And we're going to look at it in a few minutes. Just let me let me go through the pound versus the US dollar first. Right, so the 130 is a big level and a level that we have hit already. All right, now to the downside, the first target would be the 127.70, which is these previous highs right here. Now that would be the first target, but the ultimate target will be here for a first move down. Of course, remember that this move is very news driven. Very news driven and only news driven, and the reason that I'm targeting the 125.50 to 125.70 is because of this. This is a previous base, and not only is a previous base, but here is where big buyers came in the past. So what I'm targeting, and this is if I find a short opportunity on the pound versus the yen, is right here, a short for a first target on the 127.70 and the second target right here to the 125.50. And this is only because we are going to have a bear move at the open, and we don't know. I mean, of course, that we are going to open with a gap down, and I'm not telling you here that you should short the pound at the open. Not at all. What I'm looking here is I'm going to go through all the pound pairs so you can actually take your own trading decision, and remember that we are going to open with a gap down. So beware of high volatility at the open and a gap close, etc. So basically, here is what we're going to be doing this. All right. Now, just a little reminder: if you are not a premium member, you can if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link below the video where you can subscribe to for our premium services to 1 month for $25. If you're watching from YouTube or I'm sorry, from Facebook or Twitter, there's a link in our bio where you can get the same offer. Now let's go and let's continue with this. So basically the 130, I would assume and I would expect a reaction to the downside to the 127.70, ultimately to the 125.70. Now let's have a look at the pound versus the yen, which is, if you are a premium subscriber or you follow these shows, you know that this is one of my favorite currency pairs to trade. Now again, if you look closely, let me just well, we hit the 161.8. Just let me make a better job at drawing this. I'm sorry about that. So I don't know what. Well, we're gonna leave it there. So this is the 161.8, guys, and we hit it at the 141. Again, we're going to, and those were my long targets. I was long. Actually, from the break of this, from this flag, I got long right here, and I rode it all the way here. Of course, that I took profits on the way up, but I rode it for almost 1,000 pips. So that was a great trade for me. And if you join Premium, I'm going to show you how to do that. But we are here to watch some levels on the pound, all right? Now, this is why I was targeting the 141. Again, key levels. I mean, key levels are important. Are very important for me in my analysis and the way that I trade. And if this makes sense to you, well, I'm more than welcome to join us Premium. All right. So here is why this was a very important level. Very important level right here, and this is where after the break above the level, this is where we found big buyers that moved price all the way to the 149. So if you look closely again, once we broke to the downside, this is where we found sellers that moved price all the way to the 127. And this is why I love trading this currency pair. It's because of the big moves and clean moves that you get on the daily. All right. Now, because of the vote on Parliament this week, let's have a look at if you have any questions, guys. Just type it on the chat. I'm more than happy to answer them. Or you can tweet at me at tradimo.com. Well, you can tweet me at Tradimo. So basically, this was the big level that I'm looking at for a short opportunity on the pound versus the yen. Now, what are the big levels that I'm looking at? The first big level is the 137, the 137.50 right here, and ultimately the 135. All right, and this is just for the news-driven video, or for the news-driven move on the pound because of today's vote. Now, why is the 135.50 a big level for me? I'm going to show you. Historically, this is where we found buyers once and where we found buyers again. So yeah, this is a huge level. And if you notice, this is where we found sellers once and when we found sellers again on the flag. All right. Now, I expect to move down to the 137 immediately and then to the 135 due to this move and this big hit to Boris Johnson and the UK government. All right. So again, be careful at the open. It's going to open with a gap down, most certainly. I'm sorry. And maybe that gap will get filled. Maybe it won't get filled. We don't know that just yet. But what we are going to be doing is looking for short opportunities with good risk-to-reward scenario towards these levels. All right. Now, let's move on and let's have a look at the euro versus the pound, which I already told you is the pair that I like the most for a short opportunity on the British pound. Now, let's have a look at why. Now, first of all, big move to the downside on the euro versus the British pound, and if you notice, a bearish move on the euro versus the British pound means a bullish move on the pound. Okay, so This is a bullish move on the pound. Now that we are looking for a short opportunity on the pound, we are going to be looking for a short opportunity for a short. Just a second. For a short. Now that we are looking for a short opportunity on the pound, we are going to be looking for a long on the pound versus the on the euro versus the pound. And right now we are at the 86.20 to 86 level, which is a very important historic level to me. And the risk versus the reward on this trade is very good. Now, you need to understand that, of course, the euro versus the pound yields less yield less pips than the pound versus the yen, but also the risk that you take are lower. All right. Now, very important level right here, and also to the downsides that I don't think that we're going to get there to the 85 level, but for a short for a short play on the pound, I'm going to be looking to buy these all the way to the 88 to 89 level. All right. Now let's have a look at some other currency pairs or some other pound currency pairs which I haven't worked on, and we are going to be doing that right now together. Again, if you're not a premium member and you want this kind of analysis, I do send my trade levels, my trade ideas, and my analysis every single day to our premium members. So if you're watching this through YouTube, there is a link below this video, and if you're watching this via Facebook or Twitter, there's a link in our profile where you can get the offer to subscribe for 1 month for just $25. So let's start with the British pound against the Australian dollar. Now, a very clean move to the upside, and these moves to the upside were due to the negotiations that Prime Minister Boris Johnson was making, and the progress that Prime Minister Johnson was making on the negotiations with the EU. Now, they struck a deal and pound went up. All right. Now, this is the hourly chart, so we're going to go to the daily chart first because we want to look for key levels, key historic levels. Now, we have one right here, but of course we already broke above, and if you notice, this is where buyers were found. Buyers were found after a retest of that broken level, the 188. Now, if you ask me, these pairs, because they are less liquid than the pound versus the US dollar or the pound versus the yen, they're going to open with a bigger gap down. So I am looking for a first target down at the 184 level, which are these highs right here, the 184 level. So I'm expecting a move towards that level almost immediately, and after that I would say that we could be looking at even a retest of the 180. So that would give us a move from the weekly close to those levels of about 830 pips, guys. Again, remember that these currency pairs that we are looking at right now are less liquid, so we are going to be opening with a higher or with a bigger gap to the downside. So remember that these are not. I am not telling you that you should open a short on the pound on any of these currency pairs at the open on Sunday, but you should definitely look for shorts on the pound when you start your trading sessions. Again, I will be sending my trading levels and trade ideas to our premium community, so you can, if you are not a premium member, just join by clicking on the link below if you're watching this on YouTube, and there's a link on the on our profiles on if you're watching via Twitter or Facebook. So let's continue. Those are the levels. I mean, write it down. Of course, I'm going to leave a recording of this video on all of our social medias. And if you, I mean, you can come back and have a look at it if you want, all right, and, or if you are not, I mean, or when you see it on your charts to analyze the markets at the open. Let's have a look at the British pound against the Canadian dollar, and we're going to finish up with the British pound against the Swiss franc, okay? But let's start with the British pound against the Canadian dollar, and yeah, let's have a look. This is the 4-hour chart. Again, I'm going to go to the daily chart to find my key levels. Key levels on this currency pair. This is going to be quite difficult in my opinion. Okay, first key level 173. We're not going to get there most definitely, but second key level right here, these lows and these highs around the 170. All right, the 170, and I'm going to put on another's right here at the 170.90. all right, this is a big zone for this currency pair, and of course targets to the upside. Let's have a look if we get that that retracement from high to low, 161.8, boom, to the peep, the 161.8 right here. Let's change the color on this retracement. And remember, I mean, if you follow my shows, and if you follow me, or a premium member, you already know that 161 are targets to the upside or the downside, doesn't matter, but they're ultimate targets to me. So basically this is the 170, and this is the level that we closed at right now on Friday. Now to the downside, I would be expecting a test of the previous highs right here, test of these previous highs, and ultimately if those highs are broken, a test of the lows of the previous swing down. All right, so that would be a full retracement to the a full retracement down to the previous lower low. That would yield on this currency pair 749 pip, 750 pip move to the downside. Now let's have a look at the last currency pairs, and again we are just looking at levels. We're not looking at actual setups, or this is not recommendation for you to trade the pound at the open. This is just my levels that I'm going to be looking at the open and making a decision afterwards. All right, now if you're if you're a premium member, you already know where to get that offer. So let's finish up with a good British pound against the Swiss franc, yeah, let's finish this short and unscheduled stream strong, guys. So basically we hit a key level right here. Full on rejection to that key level. And I actually hadn't seen this just yet. For me, this is a beautiful setup. Let's see. Of course, that would be around the 161.8. Actually, that was more than the 161.8. I would have obviously taken profits below that if I had taken that long opportunity or that long trade on this currency pair. Now, first level that I will be looking at is the 124.50, around the 124.50. Let me just figure this out. 124.50, big level here. Previous highs where sellers were found, so I do expect a retest of this level at the open, and ultimately I will be looking for the previous lower low, which was actually the buy setup for this move to the upside. Now this is very important because when you look for buy setups, always look for a retest of the previous broken high. That is one. That is technical analysis and technical analysis setups 101. If you want to have a look at how I do things, just join Premium. We have an offer below this video if you're watching on YouTube, or go to go to our social media profiles and click on the link to get the offer. So very nice flag formation here and buy setup that we were discussing. And now that the UK Parliament has has voted to ask for an extension of Brexit to the EU, we are going to look for short opportunities, like we said before. So first of all, we hit that level, and the next level that we want or that we are looking for is this one, the 124.50. And if broken, we are going to be looking at a short at right here to aim for the 121 on the British pound versus the Swiss franc. And basically, these are the levels that I will be looking at the open, guys. So heads up to everything that we just went through. And if you just joined us, well, at the end of this stream, I will be leaving a recording of this video on all of our social medias and our YouTube channel. So I will see you guys at the open to go through how these markets, or how the pound open versus all these versus all the majors, and of course versus the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, and the Swiss franc, and that will be on Sunday evening. That I will be doing the weekly market breakdown and very focused on the pound. But right now, I just wanted to go through the pound levels that we will be looking at the open because the vote just happened. So until Sunday, guys, have a great weekend.